Imagine waking up to a world with no color, just shapes and shadows. We'd navigate like animals, alert to movement, guessing at any mean, missing all the subtle cues that color gives us. No warm sunrise to signal, wake up, no red stop sign to scream danger, no calming blues to slow our breathing, just survival mode. Colors are a shortcut to emotion and understanding. They whisper, trust me, shout, look here, and nudge us toward action before we can even read a word. Today, I'm going to show you how that instinctive, almost animal response to color translate into design, how to pick palettes that pop, guide attention, set mood, and still stay accessible to everyone. By the end, you'll see how color doesn't just decorate your work, it directs it. And today we'll paint with a purpose. So I just want to go ahead and welcome everybody in to the Color Foundations class tonight. We'll be in here about 2 hours and we're going to cover a few different things. Tonight, we will go ahead and start with our goals. So, by the end of this class, we will understand primary, secondary, and tertiary colors, tell warm versus cool colors, and basic harmony types, use simple color psychology to make choices with intent, check contrast to keep designs readable and inclusive, and build a small practical palette for web or mobile. Let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and we're going to start talking about, uh, let's see, Canva. We're going to start talking about the colors. I just need to put my chat in view. So I can see when everybody has questions. Okay. So of course, we want to go ahead and start off with our primary colors. So let's do circles. So our primary colors are going to be red, hold on, I need my keyboard. Red, yellow, and blue. Let's see what they're considering blue. Sapphire, cobalt, light blue, turquoise blue, aqua blue. I just want blue. That's it. That's all. Let's just say deep blue. So these are going to be our primary colors. And these are going to be the colors that we mix to create other colors. As far as our secondary colors, those are going to be orange. Let's see which orange we selected. Orange, which is indeed a mix of yellow as well as red. So if we were to say drop the transparency on these, oh, that color in the middle should be orange. Okay. And now we're going to do the same for our next secondary color. Let's just copy the page. So our next secondary color is going to be green, and that is going to be a mix of yellow and blue. And then our final secondary color is going to be a mix of blue and red to create purple. So let's see what purple we're going to select. That's magenta, cherry red, tomato red, say bright red. So you can see here, this is a really good indicator to show that it creates purple. And then tertiary colors are things like red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, etc. When we start to mix things that create like that, you can kind of see the yellow in it, or you can kind of see the green in it, or it doesn't exactly look orange. You can see the red and the orange in it. Those are going to be tertiary colors. Now, the next thing we want to talk about is going to be warm versus cool. So, warms are going to be things like your reds, oranges, and yellows. So, those give off warmness. So, this is when we are going to think of seasons. So, like fall, we start to see a lot of yellows, a lot of oranges, a lot of, deeper browns to show that off. Bear with me one second, just grabbing my other keyboard. So our warm colors are going to be that red, orange, and yellow. Whereas our cools will be that blue, green, and purple. Okay, let's go ahead and grab our circle. It's going to be that blue, green, and purple. So notice this gives more of a winter. Welcome in, Ingrid. How are you on this Friday? I appreciate you for stopping by. I am just going through the warms and the cools. I can briefly go back for you if you need to do the primary, secondary, and tertiary colors. Just give me a one in the chat if you need me to go back. I don't mind. Perfect. You got it. So I started off talking about no problem, no problem. So these are going to be your primary colors. These are going to be the colors that we know for a fact exist on their own. So that's going to be our red, yellow, and blue. To then mix with secondary colors where we mix things like yellow and red to create orange, yellow and blue to create green, and red and blue to create purple. These are going to be our secondary colors. Now, tertiary colors are things like red green, or I'm sorry, red orange, yellow green, blue purple. So you can see both the color, like they can lean on either side. However, you can see both colors in that one color. Does that make sense? Typically, we don't touch on tertiary colors, so I just want to make sure we're good to go. Okay, perfect. So from there, we have warm versus cool. So our warm colors are going to be our red, orange, and yellow. So think about fall. So with that in mind, what do you think cools are going to be? That'll be our blues, greens, and purples. So to touch back on our warm colors, they give off energetic, friendly, and attention grabbing vibes, whereas cool colors give off calm, trustworthy, and soothing. So now the next thing we want to touch base on is going to be lightness and saturation. So lightness is going to be how light or dark a color is, whereas saturation is going to be how bright or muted a color is. So, for example, we would take this purple, the lightness of it, we're going to go to the transparency. Notice that it's at 100. That means that color is at its full hue. Whereas if we were to lighten it, we're messing with the saturation. So that then creates different colors. So we can go from a super deep purple to a super light purple to nothing. That's going to be its saturation. And then depending on light can determine how a color looks. So I'm not sure if you remember in pop culture a couple years ago, but there was a dress that like broke the internet because some people saw it as white and gold, and some people saw that same dress as I believe blue and purple. It just depends on lighting, and both can be true. It just depends on what light what light is in the room, what type of light it is, and what's the like the transparency of the amount of light that's being shown. So if it's super, super bright, we may see white and gold, but if it's kind of dark, our eyes may play with this and we may see blue and purple. Okay, so monochromatics. Monochromatics are going to be one color with different lightness and saturation. So this is typically like a safe and clean aesthetic. So this is where you'll see people do things like this. So you'll have like this kind of brown, and then they may add another type of brown on top. And then they just keep stacking pretty much the same color family, just in different hues. Whereas anomalous colors are neighbors on the wheel, and they typically aren't the same. So I'm sorry, close to the same. So this is a blue, but it's not the same blue as this, which is not the same blue as this, which is also not purple. So it blends as it starts to transition one into another. So no red is not green, but if we start to add certain colors to it, we can achieve these colors inside of the wheel. Now, outside of those colors, we can also do things like complementary colors. So complementary colors may be, let me show you. I have a few color palettes. And if you want this color palette that I'm about to show you, just let me know. Put a one in the chat. I just need to find it for you. Here we go. These are going to be complementary colors. So where you see colors that, it's my girl Empress, come on in. Colors like this that complement each other well. No, they're not the same, but they do flow and create one unified vision. So let me go ahead and grab y'all that download. Now, Empress, this is the same download from Tuesday night's class. So if you already downloaded it, you are good to go. If not, feel free to download again. Okay, so I just dropped that in the chat for y'all. Okay, now another color harmony type is going to be triadic, and those are three evenly spaced colors. So you're going to have a bright and then keep two muted, and of those two muted, one is going to be extremely strong. So let's see. Let's pick one here where we can do, I hear you. I can I'll circle back for you just to cover because all we covered so far is primary, secondary, anodulous colors, tertiary colors, and I'll go back for you. No worries. So let's see. These three here would be really good triadic colors. Or these three. Okay, hold on one second, y'all. Somebody just sent me a message. Just want to make sure nobody's trying to get in the room because we don't want to leave anybody out. Okay, cool deal. So I'm just going to go back really briefly. So these are going to be our primaries. These are the colors that exist without mixing with anything. These are the colors that we mix together to then create secondary colors. So, of course, orange is yellow and red, blue and yellow make green, and then red and blue make purple. And then these are going to be our warm colors. So the warm colors create energetic, friendly, and attention grabbing vibes. And then our cool colors, like the blue, green, and purple, are going to be calm, trustworthy, and soothing. And then after that, I touched on lightness, which is going to be how light or how dark a color is. The saturation of it is how bright or how muted a color is. So that's like right now, the saturation on this is at 100%. That means we get the full color. Whereas if we were to go and mess with the transparency, that then messes with its saturation, ultimately giving us different shades of that color because we see it in a different light. And I gave Ingrid the example of the dress that broke the internet, where some people saw it as white and gold, and then other people saw it as blue and purple, I believe it was. And then monochromatics are going to be, of course, in the same color house. So these are all shades of brown. And then the nodulous colors are going to be colors that are neighbors on the wheel. So this is a set of green and this is a set of green, but then it turns into blue. And as we go down and transfer that saturation and lightness, it slowly but surely starts to turn into the next color that's on the wheel and become a part of that family. Okay, now who is familiar with color psychology? And it's okay if y'all not. I just want to make sure if you are. Okay, cool. Cool, cool, cool. Okay, so notice now we hear a lot of people say, my power color is this, or, I see this color when I feel this way. That is going to be color psychology. Our brains associate colors with certain feelings. So red is going to give off energy. Let's go here. So red is going to give off energy, urgency, or errors. So notice you gonna stop at that stop sign because you know it's red. Or if you did something wrong, that box is gonna turn red and you need to go back and fix it. Whereas orange is friendly and active. So notice we see a lot of the construction workers that are in orange in the street, like, hey, I'm here, don't hit me. Just to let you know, friendly reminder. Green is going to be success, growth, and it's safe. So green means good to go. Blue is going to give us our trust, stability, and professional. So notice a navy blue suit is going to do it every time. Signing in a blue pen, good to go. Purple. Purple leans towards creative and premium. So I know that Empress knows, but Ingrid, I'm not sure if you know or not, but I'm from Louisiana and Mardi Gras is a really big thing. When that purple, green, and gold come out, we know what time it is. A premium time is about to be had. Now, when we start going more towards this way in the color wheel, we start going towards the pink. So, what do y'all think pink means? How does how does pink make you feel? And we don't do pink hate around here, just by the way. Okay, pretty. That's a really good one. So pink is going to give off a confident, yes, ma'am, bold. Pink is going to give us expressive. It's going to give us modern. Yet, come on, the music and the lights. A time will be had, I promise you. Now, neutrals. Neutrals are going to be things like your whites, your nudes, your safe colors. That's not so in your face. Your grays that don't stand out as much. Notice the gray area. You don't want to be on either side, so you'll be in the middle. Now, in a job setting, blue for primary actions. So notice things like links and that kind of thing are always blue. Green is going to be for your success once again. And then red for errors or destructive actions. Now, I know not everyone can see certain colors. So we have to do certain things to make colors accessible for everyone. So just remember, small text needs to have a strong contrast. So if you're going to have something that is, let's see, and we're going to keep it, let's just say 12. No, see, and that's the psychology of it. Like, you see something red on that paper, it's not good. Okay, so I'm dropping this down to the normal text that we would see on a document. Now, can you see that? Absolutely not. Unless you like have Superman vision, you won't be able to see that. So you want to stay away from the darks here, the darker colors. Because what's going to happen is notice in that orange, and as we move lighter and lighter, we'll be able to see it. So that's what I mean when I say the bold background. So when we start moving to the darker colors, it's a little bit harder to see. Now, of course, we can always change the color of that text, but that is also the same rules apply there. We won't change the color of the text to the same color as the background. More than likely, we would change this to a lighter color. But for examples purposes, notice we want to stay away, even in the lighter blues, we would have to go the absolute lightest to be seen here. Whereas in the yellows, we can kind of move freely. Let's check the greens. So notice in the darker greens, we can't see it. But if the text is super small, just go ahead and make sure that that background is extremely bold. Whatever your bold looks like for whatever it is you're creating. And just make sure that it's cohesive. And the ratio you want to do that at is going to be 4.5 to 1 contrast or higher. Now, as large text, you don't have to go as large. I'm sorry, as bold. You can do 3 to 1 or higher. Now, always make sure that you check the body text on backgrounds, button text on a button color, same concepts. You don't want things to be the same color or blended in, especially if it's something for people to consume. So you want people to click that link. You want people to, it creates a call to action. You want them to be able to complete it, so you need to make it easy. I always recommend that if you are creating a color palette, like for me, and my color palette, it's a lot of pink. Always have something that's darker. So, like for me, I went with something like this shade. Even sometimes here will be like my accent color. But if I need like wording on a button, I'm going the absolute lightest. And don't rely on colors alone. Start adding in things like different elements. So if you want somebody to call, have a phone icon. And the good thing with Canva, you can come in and you can change these things to what you need it to be. We cooking with grease or is our fire off? How we feeling so far? Good. Okay. Good, good, good. Okay. That's what I like to hear. Okay. So I am going to pull up my list here on this side for some moments in pop culture. And you may have seen some of the movies, you may not, but I'll start with one for sure that is my absolute favorite. I can watch it a million times over. Kill Bill. When Beatrix Kiddo, aka the Black Mama, goes to strike, she always sees red. What does red like in that moment, if you know she's going to strike and going to kill, what do you think red is telling us as the viewer? It's about to be on and popping. Somebody is about to get towed up, okay? Whereas in the Matrix, we see a lot of green, artificial, uncanny reality, AI. You know what I mean? This is AI before AI. It's to create unease and detachment and to show that you really are inside of a machine. Whereas in Breaking Bad, another one of my favorite shows, purple is used a lot with Marie, the wife, to show control or comfort or unraveling. It creates a false security and obsessive control, tipping into anxiety. And you see it as the show progresses. If you haven't watched the show, I highly suggest that you do. Just be prepared that season one is going to be extremely slow, but it is for a good reason. It is setting you up to be mind blown. But you can see throughout this series how Marie becomes increasingly more anxious. Now, a more of a recent show that's actually on, The Handmaid's Tale, we see those scarlet robes. We see that oppression that is to show that ritualized control, dread, systemic power, loss of agency, so like losing of oneself. And in The Handmaid's Red, it stands out against the drab environment. So notice, like, if you go back and watch, what is it called on Netflix? 13 Reasons Why. When Hannah is still alive, Clay sees everything in like the oranges and the yellows. Everything is super bright. But when he goes back to his current reality after losing her, it's like the colors are there, but they're not. Kind of like when Fat Albert came out the TV and he was in the real world too long and he was starting to lose his color. Same thing. So you'll see it like start to pay attention when you watch things, and that'll actually like if you can catch on to it, you can kind of tell what's about to happen. That's the really cool part about seeing the colors. Just in that way, like just paying attention to that alone versus just like you watching for the plot. Now, as far as some more colors and what they mean. I didn't cover the black, gray, and white. So black, gray, and white is going to say authority, simplicity, and structure. And it's really good for backgrounds, text, and hierarchy. And don't worry, I will put I have a product, a digital product for y'all that'll be free after the class is over that I'm gonna put inside of the school. I wanted to do digital products a little bit different tonight. I know this is a unique lesson, especially when it comes to Canva, but I was curious to see if there's any requests as far as what you would like to know about colors, because I'll go ahead and add some more palettes and add more secondary colors that are, like how you can use them and what they look like, more things with text underneath it, just so you can see what to do and what not to do. So if you have any requests, please feel free to put them in the chat and I'll notate them and get that completed for y'all. Okay, now let's see. So far, any questions? Yay, nay, possibly. Okay. Okay, no questions. Cool deal, cool deal. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and I'm just pulling up my checklist. So when creating something, you want to go ahead and you want to choose the vibe that you're going for. And in doing so, you want to pick your main color. So whether you're doing that for a brand, more than likely you've already picked the colors that you want to work with. Or if you're doing something outside of having a color palette, you want to figure out what color you want to use to evoke certain emotions. So if you want to create alert, you are going to use things like that orange, yellow, you want to stay here. If you're going for money, like if the topic is money, success, you want to stay in the blues to greens. If you going vibrant or just fun, you want to stay in your pinks and purples. And then if you are creating something where you want to grab people's attention and it is an urgent matter, if you want to stay in your reds. And of course, within this, you want to add complementary colors. So in that red, say flyer you're creating, you may want to add some orange in there. You may want to add some yellow. You can create your own palette to tell that story. Okay. And then I am going to give y'all the option to choose. Do y'all want to do a color psychology flyer or do you want to do a Halloween flyer? It's up to y'all. Okay, color psychology. And what I can do, I can give you the, do y'all want the key for what colors mean and that kind of thing? Because this is the thing. I am going to test y'all as we go, as I add it to the, okay, cool deal. So, just a fun fact, if you go ahead and you download the previous downloads from Tuesday night's class, the PDFs are super long because I did it as a Canva website. And then export it as a PDF. So I'm going to do the same thing here so y'all can get the most bang for your buck. And I just need to, okay, website. Okay, and we are gonna zoom out. And let me see if I can find it. Okay, so what did we talk about with text? Will I be able to put text over this for it to be seen? No. Okay, good job. So we are going to do what to it? We're gonna mess with the lightness or the saturation or both. Good job. So we are going to drop this down ever so slightly. Now I'm gonna give you a trick that I always use, Ingrid. I know Empress, she's seen me do it a few times before. If it were thick white, perhaps I'm screaming. Okay, so anytime I select any sort of shape, it's always gonna come out to be pink because I have my brand kit set up. But we are actually gonna go ahead and change this to black. Now, in order to see what's in the background, what do I need to do? Lightness or saturation? Perfect. And let me pull it up on my computer as well, just so I can make sure we are in the neighborhood we need to be in. Okay, we just split screen. Bear with me 1 second, y'all. I did a class a while back and I was streaming from the TV and I couldn't tell. Perfect example of how light differs. I was streaming from the TV and the color profile didn't match what I was looking at on the computer. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that's not bright. And everybody was like, yeah, we can't see anything at all. Okay, here we go. So we got color foundations, and we are just going to take a peek really quick. Okay, that's not too bad. I do want to, no, no, not all the way up. Yeah, I want that a little brighter so I can go a little darker here. Perfect. And then we're gonna lock this up. I always recommend if you are going to do anything in layers that you start to lock them as you go. So this is also a lesson in how to create a digital product as well, because that is ultimately what I'm doing here. Okay, so do y'all want primary colors on here as well? The primary, secondary, tertiary colors? Okay, perfect. All right. And y'all feel free. I forgot to say that in the beginning. I don't know what the viewer side looks like, but if y'all have any questions or y'all just want to comment or anything, feel free to come up on the mic. I'm not one of those people. You can absolutely come up. Okay, yeah. If we're gonna do it that small, we could probably do probably smaller. Yeah. There we go. Perfect. These are our primaries. Let's go to our, I don't want to add the, I guess I have to. Why you laughing, Empress? What I said, I know I probably said something crazy and didn't even realize it. What I do? Uh, let's see. We want to bring to front, and we need to actually change the saturation on these. Okay, and we want to group. No, absolutely. This the thing. Absolutely. If you got a Jones in your bones, don't fight it. Cause you know I'ma laugh. I can't hold it in. Okay, so here are our, we'll get rid of these as we go. Oh no, wait a minute. Yeah, whatever y'all want. I'm down for whatever. Now, where do y'all feel like y'all are struggling when it comes to colors? Do you feel like you have a struggle? I'm screaming. She's talking about together. Yeah, we gotta go here. I probably should have did the orange like that because I actually like that. Okay, so this is fresh for you. That's a good thing then. So what are you looking to create inside of Canva? Like what's your avenue? Oh, that's not in the center. That's gonna high key try me. Okay, so what I'm doing now is like I mentioned earlier on a Canva website. What you are looking to do is something similar. So say I wanted to publish this as a website, I would just come here and hit share, go to, I believe it's website, because you would need to set everything up. Yeah, you would need to set everything up. So if you have a domain, you can add your own domain in here. So you can use a .com. So if you go to dcamerond.com, dikamerond.com, that is actually a Canva website. So you can do exactly what you need to do. If you are looking for, are you looking to have a store on there as well? Because that may, the answer to that question may direct you somewhere else. Okay, so you are going to want things like analytics and all that good stuff. I would recommend something like Squarespace, Shopify, Wix, just so you can have all of your back end stuff. Because with Canva, what's going to happen is you would have to set your store up elsewhere and then link all of your products inside of Canva to that store. So if you're going to do that, you might as well design everything in one place. My mouse is literally freaking out. Okay, bring the front. Okay, so like for me, I have a digital strategy and creative agency. I don't necessarily have a storefront. You're not gonna purchase my services on there because majority of my services require a discovery call. So I just need it more so as a, "Hey, I actually have a website," type of thing. Because I paid for Wix, Squarespace, like, I've done the whole shebang of the actual site, and I didn't get any use from it because I'm not using it in the traditional sense. If you wanted to even do a portfolio on a Canva website, you could do that as well. It's solely dependent on what you want to use it for. I'm trying to see how I want to, let's do it like this. So my design portfolio is also a Canva website where I purchased the domain and host it through Canva because I don't need a, now granted, you could always change your mind, but it is going to require you to design again. Okay, so we got blue. Let's do purple, blue, green. So the Canva website can be helpful for people to. Okay, so you like the colors pink and purple. What you could do, so like on my website, I have a link to my calendar where they can book. So you can say the Canva website is just to display what you offer, and then almost like a landing page of sorts. Hold on, let me see if it's gonna let me use this mouse. Yeah. Okay, hold on, y'all. This wireless mouse I bought, I am not feeling it. And I'm about to just go back to my laptop and control it from there. Um, yeah, it's a little bit more efficient. Dang, that sucks. Next time, put it in the, copy your message and then put it like in a note and then send it in pieces.
I just didn't know. And then I'm like, oh dang.
Oh,
And it didn't
there you
even keep it up there. It like
oh,
didn't even
it,
show.
it, oh wow.
So yeah, there's like no record.
Wow, that sucks.
Yeah, yeah.
Let me see. But you're here now. I'm all ears. Okay, so we could delete all of these. And I'm gonna give y'all a color wheel on there as well. Okay, cool. Okay, and Ingrid, to give you just a little view, this is what it would look like. Oh no, we want page 4. If I was to publish this as a website, this is what it would look like as of right now. So I always recommend that whatever venture you're going on, purchase the domain. That way you can always connect that domain to Google Workspace. So whatever email you are sending is coming from that company name, or whatever it is you're doing, versus the company name at gmail.com. And then if you decide to do that, you can utilize the Google Calendar. And Google Calendar now has a feature where people can book appointments directly on your calendar. So just a little food for thought. Okay. We are gonna shrink you down, sugar mama, because you don't need to be that big and we don't need you right now. Okay, so we have our primary, secondary, and then we're gonna put the emotions. These two are, and then the neutral color palette. And then I am gonna give y'all a key. Let me just go back to my list that I have here and go from there. But Canva is gonna be your best friend as far as creating visuals for your brand. I can tell you that right now. Okay, so we need, how do I want to do this? That does not need to be that big. Oh, I didn't give y'all secondary colors. Hold the phone. Group these together. And then, okay, and then our, okay, so I'm gonna do it like this. Because I did put the secondaries up there. They out of line. That's not what I was trying to do. So we have orange, green, green. Is that the same one? Orange, green, and then purple. Yes, that's the same purple we used. Yep. Okay. And then Alicia. Okay, period. MasterCard. All right. And then where's our other one? And now that I'm thinking about it, because it's on my brain, I would recommend, depending on what type of business you want to do, Ingrid, you would want to also um, create yourself like a pitch deck of sorts. And that's just basically a presentation with everything that you do. I don't know if we should do yeah, the center color is a bit much because it's counterproductive. Okay, cool. You know, we got to add a little razzle dazzle. Okay, so hold on. I'm gonna show you an example of one. So like it could be called a press kit, a media kit, but it's all the same thing. Like I have a client who F and this is her old pictures, but we had to do it with her updated pictures. And I'm not sure why it's doing that, but here we go. This is just to say like about what you who you are and what you do, the services you offer, which I'm sure y'all can't see that because it's ultra uber small because I'm super zoomed out. But yeah, it's a one pager and how they can get in contact with you. That simple. But if you want to go for things like funding and you want to, go on your local news station and talk about the business that you have. Thank you, girl. Thank you, thank you. You want to be able to share something like that because that's going to be the first thing that they ask for. And of course, my fan was high key freaking out. Let me try to close some of this stuff. But if you don't remember any of this or you have any questions, just shoot me a message and I'll give you a list. No, sister girl, don't be sorry. You are perfectly fine. We are actually creating the digital product for tonight's class. No thanks needed. This is literally what I do as a profession. So if you need help, I got you. Let me see. Is this the right one? Okay, so to give Jazzy a rundown, we touch base on primary colors, secondary colors, tertiary colors, which are going to be your red oranges, your yellow greens, your blue purples. We also touched on warm and cool. What does that look like? So that is going to be warm is going to be that red, yellow, orange. Cool is going to be blue, green, and purple. So we are adding that into this as we speak. Uh, warm versus cool. We're gonna ungroup this. Copy, and then we gotta hold all of this back. So, Jazzy, what I was explaining earlier was basically this is a colors class, but it's also a one-on-one on how to create a digital product because that is what I am doing as we speak. What size is this? 48. All right. Other than that, how is everybody's Friday going? Okay, we're gonna do this opposite just because that purple is on the other end. Child, I thought the sky fell. That's the air condition turning on. Okay, let's see. Pretty good. I love to hear it. Okay, so what do warm colors make us feel? I want to see who remembers. I'm giving you one. I did a text-only promo for pink ribbon pen and a purple ribbon pen, along with wristband. Don't know how close the clothes were on the wheel. Okay, cozy. Girl, you gonna make me start singing Beyonce. Hold on, I can't say that because every time I hear that word, I break out in the song. Friendly. Then before you know it, I'm gonna be dancing, and we just gonna completely get away from the point. I can't say that word. Let's see. Um, let's do this. Okay, so what do cool colors make us feel? Who remembers? Relax, chill. So if you ever have a hard time remembering, think of the seasons. Red, yellow, and orange are gonna always give fall. Blue, green, and purple are always gonna give cool. Okay, we feeling energetic, and then it's gonna make us feel calm. Trustworthy is crazy because I don't. I guess maybe depending on what they mean by that, I don't know. Attention grabbing. Okay. And what size is this? 27. I feel like that's a little aggressive. Okay. Circling back, I just want to make sure everybody feels confident. How are we feeling on a scale of 1 to 10? Are we confused as hell or we know what's going on? If you confused as hell, speak now, forever hold your peace. Like this. And then, hold on, let me go to my other screen and scroll up because I'm trying to make sure that I grab y'all the textbook definition of neutrals. Okay, so under monochromatic. Where's my mouse? Okay, 8. Okay, 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 okay. I'll take an 8. I'll take it. I don't complain about much. And we not gonna start now. Okay, here we go. So who remembers what monochromatic colors are? Be great and never late. This is the thing. I am never, ever, 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 ever late. I'm one of them people that's like, no, I gotta leave 66 light years before whatever it is I gotta do. Airport, I'm there 2 hours before, if not more. Okay, hold on, let me see. Left side, there we go. So I gotta leave on the left side. Right. And Ingrid, my golden rule is we never go towards the edge when we add things. She said I was just rhyming because child, I'll be there in time. There, whatever time I get there is when I get there. When that will be, ah, can't tell you. We're gonna do it like this. So y'all know, like, I grew up around old people, and you know, old people be like everywhere they got to go way before it's time. So yeah, let's do it like this. Even though the let me tell you something. I'm screaming, laughing on the inside because those are the two things I'm not leaving the house without doing. To the point where I've taught my husband to be like, okay, make sure my makeup blended, like it's going down to my neck the way it needs to go. Because you know, sometimes once again, light when you're in a different light, you can walk out the house looking a little crazy, and that's the crazy part. Makeup is literally based on what we're doing right now, off of colors. I can show y'all something. Have y'all heard about the Jimmy Fallon challenge? The Billboard challenge? Okay, so Jimmy Fallon has a new show, I think on Peacock, where creatives are competing to create different branding for 8 large brands. And they've asked people who use Canva to join the challenge of creating a billboard for the show. So where colors and saturation and all these things come into play, when you know color theory, you could play around with some things. So hold on, I'll show y'all just so y'all could. I'm not talking blindly in the air. Um, the challenge is you can only use the elements that they give you. Well, you can only do so much with red, blue, yellow, black, and white. I'm mad on the inside when I see myself in. Okay, like why y'all didn't say anything? So this, I'm trying to create Jimmy Fallon using the colors that they gave me. So notice, this is red, but I put red on top of yellow and dropped the light and the saturation. So technically, if they were looking at my submission, they would be like, "Oh, well, this is not the color we said to use." But technically, it is. I just dropped the light. So you could truly play around with colors however you want to play around with them and blend them. That's how foundations are made. That's how lipstick is made. That's how, everything we see. I'm trying. It's not coming. Let me tell you something. The way the eyeball is coming out, it looks like Mike Wazowski, quite frankly. And of course, it wouldn't be that big, but yeah, I'm trying because the part of the challenge is you can only use what's on here. So I'm trying to play around with it, but I'm also not gonna let it stress me out because if it gets to the point where I'm like, yeah, I can't figure this out, I'm gonna go a different I'm gonna go a different direction. Okay, so what I'm doing now is I'm just unlocking my background so I can make my page a smidge bigger because we don't want to do too much extra space. I feel like I'll use that because we still have to put the uh color wheel on here as well as the complementary, I believe, and then the color psychology, and then we should be good to go on there. But yeah, I got into makeup really young. Probably, I mean, I wouldn't say super young, but like as far as like wearing a full face of makeup, I was fairly young. And this has to be probably like 2016. I'm in my 20s at this point now. And Anastasia Beverly Hills has come out with like a um 30 different color lip palette. And of course they put your primary colors, your blacks, your whites, that kind of thing in there where you can mix different colors. And I seen a video, of course this is like the YouTube days where you could mix, your primaries and actually create foundation shades. So I went down that rabbit hole and that's when I learned that you can do that as far as with your makeup. I knew it with paint. I just never put the two together, if that makes sense. Okay, let me see. Our neighbors on the color wheel palette, and they're calm and unified. So, Jazzy, I know this was something that you missed. This just means that the colors next to each other on the color palette flow. So this green complements this green that turns into this blue that turns into this blue that turns into the deeper blue that turns into the purple, so on and so forth. And then that color palette I gave y'all earlier that I said was really good for complementary. Where is it? Here we go. And this is a download that's already in Gumroad. Okay, so these are don't burn me up. Okay, there we go. And we need to actually change. Can I change the shape or I have to do it individually? All right. Cool. Now, to take it a step further, when you start to add different shapes with different colors, you could really play around with the shaping of things. So, same concept for highlighting and contouring our face. You playing with the shape and the light of the direction of how your face is shaped and where light hits it. So naturally, you want to conceal your T zones because that's the areas that stick out. So typically, like your forehead, your nose, your chin, that's gonna make it pop. Whereas your cheeks, unless you me who have like a baby face and you have really big cheeks, your contour is gonna you want it to chisel. I don't like I contour, but it's for the purpose of making blush pop because there's no point because I'm gonna have rosy cheeks either way. But that's playing with the light and the dark of how your face sits. Okay. And then now, is there anything else y'all want to see inside of here that may answer any questions you may have eventually? Speak now, forever hold your peace. Remember, you are free to come up on the mic as long as you don't start freestyling. I mean, if you do, I might join in, but just don't start freestyling on me. Okay. So this lesson was a brief lesson. It was just something to get y'all started with on the basics. We are going to have some more complex stuff, I believe, starting next week. Double check the calendar that's inside of school, and that is how the cookie will crumble. Now, Jazzy, are you your baby that was supposed to be joining us? Is she still joining us? Because I can answer any questions she has about getting started. And we also have as well. I have what we're making, but that is going to be either at the end of next week or the end of the following week. Mm. All right, and then color psychology. Let's copy these. And I just need to grab my key. Where is it? There we go. Ungroup. And we are going to do it just like this. Red. We want a traditional red. We want orange. That ain't orange. Magenta. Here we go. Orange. Yellow. Oh, we Roy G. Bibbing it. Okay. Green. Blue. Pur- Purple, pink, black. Okay, teal, gray, and then white. But we need to combine the three. All right, and then gotta unlock this, make our page a little bit bigger once again. So as you start to design in Canva and Grid, you want to keep in mind that you're using layers. So if I was to try to grab everything right here, it would be grab the background. So that's why you see me unlocking the background. Why is it freaking out like that? Oh, whatever. Because you will drive yourself crazy and things you don't need to fix as you design because you didn't lock certain things. Trust me, been there, done that. Okay, I want to duplicate which direction do I need to go? Right on this screen or left on this screen? Passion. So remember, red is good for energy, passion, urgency, danger, and error. Okay, here it is. I'm gonna put that under. Now I'm gonna ask y'all a question and y'all tell me if it's stupid or not. But should I put the I mean obviously this is red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple. I probably should just in case anybody has any um abilities where they can't see certain colors. So yeah, I just answered my own question. So I was asking if I should put um the colors underneath just in case somebody can't see. Like some people are colorblind and they can't see certain colors. And I want everybody to be able to read it because I don't necessarily know my audience. I know y'all, but I don't know, if y'all have any superpowers. Confidence. Oh, so any requests on the Halloween class? Are you looking to create anything specific? If you celebrate, I know some people don't celebrate, but if you are, is there anything that you would like to see? Yeah, I know some people may not. Halloween is my favorite holiday of the year. just because I was one of those kids that, like, eventually once I stopped, trick or treating, I used to love to hand out the candy to the kids, and then when we stopped, I was hurt. Mm, hurt. Or even just fall, like, it doesn't necessarily have to be, um, Halloween themed. Oh, no, since you good, I was asking if anybody had any Halloween requests or even if you don't celebrate, if you, um, have any fall requests for the, I guess we can call it fall class because I wanna make sure that everybody can be included if they so choose. I'm always down for whatever, I just need one. Okay, say less, say less, say less, say less. I know for sure we can do, I don't think I have anything scheduled for Monday. I know Jazzy needs a flyer, and we can do your flyer right after Empress on Monday in the community because I have a pretty good grip on these now with creating, excuse me, the curriculum. And this week was just, I needed to kind of test it, and then I had to finish a website for a client. But I think now I have a pretty good grip on it to be able to start to pivot back to quote unquote normalcy. But next week we have loads of classes. So not just in the design like a star group, I also do have the Glow Getter for people who are looking for freelancers. Monday we can do it in the afternoon. Mama Bloom says she needs assistance with Mission Impossible customer service. Say less. Tell mom we got her. It's nothing. She don't even have to ask. Oh, that's gonna be cute. Mission Impossible. And I think where we are now, I could stop the recording, and I'm gonna give y'all a little exclusive.